So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are watching this from. I'm lucky enough with me today to have Sean Kingsley, CEO, President, Director at Gold Hunter Resources. Sean, how are you today?
I'm good, Romeo. Hi, everyone.
Awesome. So name of the game today is the tricky task at the end of a year to both summarize this one and also look forward to the next one. So looking forward to running through that with you. I want to get right into the protein because I know Gold Hunter has made significant progress, obviously, in 2025. You've gone from consolidating a district to being fully drill ready. So my question to you, Sean, is when you look back at where you started the year, so this time last year versus where you are now, what stands out as kind of the defining achievement to you?
Yeah, last year we came off a great success, exiting our last consolidation. So in the last year, we pivoted into a new consolidation, which is just bordering 5 kilometers away from our last exit. And the consolidation is key, consolidating an area that's always been fragmented for sure. I would say, taking the time systematically, going over the project, doing an entire district scale data compilation, followed by an entire district scale, first time ever VTEM airborne survey, to now even applying machine learning AI to really set us up for 2026.
Awesome. No, I think that's a great one. And I know the team delivered in over $48 million in today's value for shareholders through the previous consolidation play before pivoting to Great Northern. So how did that experience shape your approach to building value at this project?
We were lucky enough to see the opportunities in bad markets and, through both consolidations, really make strategic moves before, as we see the metals prices, especially gold and silver, being where they're at today and where they're forecasted to go next year. So having that in mind and making those pivots and those strategic moves during the right time has really set us up. It's just primed us for discovery in 2026.
Awesome. Okay, great. Now I know you've assembled over 26,000 hectares along the Deuces Valley Fault, 18 plus mineralized zones, including a past producing mine and multiple mineralized zones, including an indicated and inferred resource. So for investors who aren't familiar with this part of Newfoundland, can you paint a picture of what makes this structure so prospective for gold?
Let's talk about structure, and let's billions of years ago, when we were all one supercontinent, Pangea happened and it separated Pangea, or the supercontinent, into multiple continents today. But those fractures or those separations in the Earth's crust is what's really endowed, these major, talk about 5 million plus deposits. And specifically, what we're sitting on is a major fault structure that essentially runs from all the way in the United Kingdom, through Ireland, over the Atlantic, through Newfoundland, down to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, all the way down to Boston, the Carolinas. And what we believe we control, is a significant fault called the Deuces Valley Fault. And we know that it is gold bearing. We have control of about 35 kilometers from top to bottom of our 2 blocks of property. And within that, we have 50 kilometers plus of mineralized splays, or mineralized conduit avenues, so to speak, essentially splays coming off these major fault structures. So we're really excited to have de-risked the project to the point where we know areas we want to focus in, not just, as you mentioned, the mineralized zones, expanding those, but also doing regional exploration.
Awesome. No, that's exciting. I know you completed the first modern district-wide VTEM survey across the entire land package in October. If you could, just walk us through what that data is telling you. What are the geophysical signatures you're seeing, and how are they correlating with the project?
Yeah, so Firefly had success with their VTEM and identified over 300, anomalies, VTEM airborne geophysic anomalies that look almost identical to their main focus is the Ming mine. So similarly to them, VTEM being done on our district scale project just across the peninsula from us really was a revelation for us. We see expansion potential opportunities not only at strike but also at depth. the 50 kilometers of gold-bearing mineralized zones that we've already identified on surface, we're seeing that those can be regional exploration targets for potential discoveries.
Awesome. I know Newfoundland, so I want to talk about jurisdiction for a second, has become one of the hottest addresses in Canadian exploration. You got the Calibre merger into Equinox, Firefly, Newfound Gold, all active in the region. How does that neighborhood affect, as it were, benefit Gold Hunter? And are you seeing increased interest from institutional investors seeking Newfoundland exposure?
Yeah, pretty much I've been going out to Newfoundland for over a decade now. Multiple generations of prospectors and the geologists that have been there forever have done a great job on the surface, but not enough owners and operators and public companies or even private companies have spent enough money to actually drill deep and make new discoveries. But those companies that you mentioned, in the last 5 years have really made a huge difference in identifying deposits going into production. You take a look at Calibre, and prior to Calibre acquiring Marathon Gold, Marathon Gold spent 10 years putting those pieces together to make that deposits up to 5 million ounces plus, which is now in production with a lot of upside. So it just shows the market, not just the people that know Newfoundland, but really the market in general, that Newfoundland's like the last frontier where, those major deposits like in the Abitibi and in James Bay and in the Golden Triangle in British Columbia, I believe within the next 5-10 years, it is going to be not the fourth best mining jurisdiction based off of the Fraser Institute's reports, but I think that's going to go higher as more discoveries and deposits are made, and we're just fortunate enough to be in the early innings and to have strategic control of what we believe could be one of those major areas.
Awesome. Let me get into dollars and cents here for a second, because I know the company's announced a $1.25 million placement to fund the drilling. Love if you could just expand on this. Give us more info on what it'll be used for and timing.
Yeah, Romeo, the beauty of our project and lots of parts of Newfoundland. Actually, let's just say our project. Like, we're surrounded by infrastructure. A major highway goes across the northern part of Newfoundland, and essentially our project is right above that highway. There's only one major highway going from Gander to Deer Lake, and we're right beside Deer Lake. We have a road that goes from the highway directly through our project, and that's where the discoveries were made on this property, actually. So, in the last 10 years, this project has seen very minimal systematic exploration programs. Really just programs were done along the side of the road in the known resource areas. If you look at our drilling to date, we got nearly 500 drill holes. That equates to over 66,000 meters of drilling. Majority of that, I would say 95% of that drilling is in 4 very isolated areas near the road where the resources are. So this money that we're raising, we got to be strategic about it. Like, our valuation is not where we want it to be. We spent the time systematically, responsibly, keeping this project intact. We got 600,000 locked up with the Newfoundland government for C2 extensions for work we haven't done yet. So once we spend that money goes back into the treasury, where we can then continue to spend that money on drilling. So just going back to infrastructure, like, we don't need to build a camp. The project's accessible year round. We have, a hydroelectric facility on the south side of the property with power lines going down the middle of the project. It is set up for success. I'm really excited to kick off drilling in the new year in Q1.
Great. Now, to wrap up for the year, I know gold is trading at or near all-time highs. Newfoundland is attracting global attention, and you're there sitting on a district-scale land package with the first modern geophysics and systematic steps ever completed across it. So, Sean, if I had to ask you, what's the message you want investors to take away as we head into 2026?
Don't look at where we're at today. Just think about it for a second. we are, like you said, in a macro environment that's, it's forecasted only to go higher. When we first started in this district, gold was around 2000. That's changed significantly, but you know, I I really feel we've spent the time responsibly, systematically positioning our project to be drill ready. And once those drills start turning, I'm really excited, and I'm already planning to have some very important special people that understand this industry to be on site to see that and to understand the scale and the infrastructure. We've had our peers, one in particular in the last 3 months, consolidated district by the Valentine deposit. Their valuation has gone from 17 million to 130 million in 3 months, just based off their consolidation without having resources intact at the moment. So we're very primed for sure. I'm really excited to potentially replicate the drill intercepts that historically are shown on this project. Like, it's on the northern side where we have a historic resource of 255,000 ounces. If you look at those historic intercepts, they're like 100 meters of 1.5, 1.7 grams, starting from near surface down to less than 200 meters. On the southern side, where we have a compliant resource at Thor, that's just a little lens into what that area could be. And we're talking about like 25, 28 meters of like 7 to 9 grams, starting from surface, like, again, going down to shy of 130 meters. But I'm really excited to get those drills turning.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thank you so much for taking time to look back on the year, but also get people excited for what's coming next. I'm certainly excited to see the next piece of news your company's got going.
Appreciate it, Romeo, and join the hunt.